when you make a smoothie with avocado, it looks a little like poo. It's a fun fact you all didn't need to know. Right, so in my last... I have seeds in my teeth. So in my last video I asked you guys to send me in any anxiety questions that you have, because I quite like doing these Q&As every now and then. Right, so I've got loads of questions to go through, so maybe we should just begin. I'm sorry to keep looking down at my laptop for the questions, but I only edit on iMovie, and I know I should be showing the questions on the screen. I don't know how to do that, so if you do know, comment down below, that would be very helpful. How do you manage the physical effects, stomach flips, short breath and all that unpleasant stuff? So I spent about a whole year, I'd say, of my life freaking out about all these symptoms, like kind of separating them one by one, thinking what does that mean? You know, do I have a stomach problem? Do I need to get my heart checked? As you can imagine, and as some of you probably already do or have done, I did get all these things checked out. Everything was fine. My body is in perfect condition. I've told you guys quite a lot about a book that I read called At Last Alive by a guy called Paul David, and he talks a lot about symptoms and that you shouldn't separate them all, so just put them all under the same bracket of anxiety. Now obviously there are exceptions to this, like some people do end up having heart problems, or you know, maybe you're actually not well physically, so do get them checked out. There's no harm in doing it, don't feel bad if you go and do it. I did it and it did give me peace of mind checking them out. But once you have got them checked out, move on from it. Don't keep getting them checked and checked and checked, because I did do this and it's a very big waste of time and money. The key thing for me that I always think about with that kind of stuff is that I still do have days where I am quite short of breath and I'm like, oh god, do I have like a breathing problem? But then I kind of can rationally be like, it's fine, it will go. All these symptoms don't last. Like, say your stomach's being flippy and it feels kind of a bit dread, like that feeling of dread. I do know exactly what that feels like. I get it quite a lot in the morning still. But it always ends, so you just have to carry on with your day as best you can, and at some point you'll be like, oh, I don't actually feel that dread in my stomach anymore. And then you'll realise that the more you obsess about that certain symptom, it just makes it worse and worse. So you know it's hard, like, to carry on with stuff when your stomach is like that, or you can't breathe properly. But they always end. And then when they do end, you should just make a note to yourself and be like, right, I realise this does end. And then the next time you'll think, oh, well, it ended last time, so it'll end this time as well. And then it will just get less and less and less. As you have said, it's important to talk. What if you have no one to talk to? So I guess I was very lucky in that respect. Like, I do have amazing people in my life that also suffer from anxiety, and also those that don't, you know, they're always there to listen as well. So for me, I did always have people to talk to. If you don't, you know, you can always go to the doctor, and you can, you know, go and see a counsellor if you want someone to talk to. You can get quite a few sessions free on the NHS if you live in the UK. I don't know too much about all the different helplines, because I never had to use them myself, but I know my friend often called the Samaritans, who are available 24/7, and those people are just waiting for the phone to ring to listen to you talk about whatever you need to talk about. So even if you don't have anyone actually in your life that you feel comfortable talking to about stuff like this, there are people that are trained to listen, and you can call them anytime, and I believe it's a free number, so I think that's always a good option. How do you cope with socialising, or is it only specific times you feel anxiety? What is annoying about anxiety is that everyone's anxiety is different, so people get anxiety about different things, different places, being with different people. I definitely went through a stage where I found it very hard to look at people in the eye, but again, after reading Paul's book, I will try not to mention it all the way through, but I probably will. But he talks a lot about that. The thing is with anxiety, it's all about removing the fear. So it's not the actual anxiety, it's the fear of the anxiety, if you know what I mean. So it's almost like fear of fear, which is so incredibly infuriating. Don't like hide away in your house, even though I know sometimes it is really appealing. Just go outside, go and talk to people in the face, and the more you do it, the more you'll be like, oh, you'll start to feel quite brave, like really proud of yourself. Like, I had a situation recently at work that made me feel really anxious, and actually I was able to kind of like rationally talk to myself and be like, this is not a big deal, just sit there, you can do it, you can get through it. And I did, and I didn't leave, you know, the office, which I have done a few times before. So for me, I felt a real sense of achievement that I got through that and I was fine, and I'm still here. So the more you do these things, because you're breaking a habit, aren't you? Like, you're breaking a habit of weeks, months, years, whatever, however long it's been for you. And, you know, you got into that habit, so you can most certainly get yourself out of that habit. How can I stop my mind from randomly jumping to absolute worst case scenarios relative to work when I'm trying to relax? Thoughts, right? So when you're at your highest state of anxiety, your thoughts obviously are going to be really anxious. So I always think that whenever I go away on holiday, which as you've probably seen is quite a lot, my anxiety is like 0. Like, I don't have any stresses, my thoughts are really calm, like I can dismiss a ridiculous thought really easily. When I'm back, like, it's a lot harder. I have got pretty good at that, I'm not gonna lie. Just because when I have a thought, I'm like, that's a ridiculous thought, like, I'm just anxious and I'm just thinking that, so I can kind of dismiss it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't stop. I don't stop thinking about it. I kind of separate my mind from me and who I am, because when I'm really anxious, it's two different things. Like, it's not, my mind is not me. It's literally got a mind of its own. Is that a pun? I'm not sure. I can hear those thoughts all the time, but I just listen to them, and then eventually they just get less and less. Sometimes they're higher, sometimes they're not there. Life, sadly, is not like that. Like, you just have to take the ups and downs. Have you ever tried cognitive behavioural therapy for anxiety? If so, would you recommend it? When I was at my worst, like my lowest, I obviously did try CBT. Because I would try bloody anything then. You could have told me I'd wear something around my head that would make me feel less anxious, and I would have worn it. It literally just wasn't for me, like, because I do have people to talk to in my life, I didn't really need that weekly anyway. For me, I didn't like the homework that you had to do for it. Like, I didn't want to constantly be thinking about anxiety, I just wanted to kind of get on with my life as best I could. I felt like a weekly reminder that I was still anxious, and doing homework and monitoring and marking how you feel out of 10, and like, honestly wasn't for me, but so many people love CBT. Totally try it and see if you like it, but yeah, it just wasn't for me. I watch every video that you make and you seem happy. Do you feel it's under control fully? Is that even possible? Thing is, like, that's actually why I like doing this and why I like my vlogs and stuff, is because I actually do feel really alive when I have a camera. I can't really explain it, it's very strange. It's almost like I have to put on a front, if you know what I mean. So in that sense, it, you know, I feel so much better now. But well, I did feel really, really crap. It was like, yeah, like fake it till you make it, I guess. And that really, really helped, because I do love making my show and I didn't want to stop, and I knew it made other people happy and smile, so that was kind of a big driving force. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Do I feel like it's fully under control? Yeah, for the most part. Like, I definitely still have bad days, but I think when you know, you just start to realise that that is what life is. Like, people have bad days and good days and average days, and no day is the same. So you just kind of take the rough with the smooth, and I try not to get too down on bad days, even though they can be really shit sometimes. But the good days I just so treasure, and I love them. I think you don't want to strive for like fully having it under control all the time, like that, you know, life happens and we have stresses and, you know, all these external factors that can affect us. So it's just about taking each day. That was actually really helpful to me, is not looking too far into the future, taking each day and just seeing what comes, and just, you know, at the time I was taking it hour by hour, you know. Emily, it would be a great favour to people if you could share some book titles so that people can read and get back on track themselves. I only read like 3 books. Well, no, that's a lie, I read about 50, but 3 books that I really liked. Like, my friend really liked a book called The Chimp Paradigm. I didn't really like it. Well, it's not I didn't like it, but it didn't really resonate with me, because honestly, different books resonate for different people. It's like, she loved it, like, really helped her, didn't really help me. So my top 3 books, I will put them all down below for you guys. Paul David, At Last Alive. Claire Weekes, Self-Help for Your Nerves. She actually has an amazing audio. I tweeted about it. It's, I think you can Google Claire Weekes audio. I'll try and find the link and put that in the description as well. It was, because I do love reading a book, but I also really like hearing someone's voice, and she says she's got a really reassuring voice. She covers depression, anxiety, all the different symptoms. That actually I loved. I used to listen to it on my way to work, and I actually found that really helpful. A lot of people like Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Me, I like a book that's a bit more like down to earth. When you read it, like a bit more relatable. I found that like I didn't really understand everything he was saying, talking about higher powers, and I don't know, I'm not really a big fan of that kind of chat. The bottom line of the whole book is, I think, a really good message. So I definitely took that from that book. What top 5 tips do you have for coping with anxiety? 1, talk about it. Talk to me, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to a doctor, talk to the Samaritans, talk to a counsellor, anyone, talk. 2, educate yourself, read up about anxiety and the mind. I think it's really important to educate yourself about it so you can understand about symptoms and why they occur, and then as a result of that you'll start to lose fear of these symptoms. So I definitely think education about it is really important. 3, look after yourself. I'm not saying get obsessed with exercise or get obsessed with diet or, I don't know, keeping yourself busy, but just make sure you look after yourself. Like, don't be doing too much, make sure you take nights out to relax. I have to have a few nights a week just to do nothing in the evenings, like just watch Netflix and chill with my flatmates. I really enjoy that. Make sure you're kind of eating nice and healthy. I think it just makes people feel better when they're not eating crap all the time. I cannot drink much anymore. I used to drink a lot, and the next day it just wasn't worth it for me. Like, I would have had fun, but like it wasn't worth it for how shit I felt the next day. So now I just have like 2 drinks max when I go out. 4, try different things. Like, you know, people talk about mindfulness and what's the app called everyone loves? Headspace. She didn't really get on with Headspace. People talk a lot about mindfulness, and I do know it's really helpful for anxiety, but for me it just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't for me. But don't be afraid to try stuff to see if it helps. Like, there's nothing embarrassing or whatever about that. Try yoga, if that's your thing. Wasn't mine at all, I just don't like it. Just don't be afraid to try things to see if they make you feel a bit better. Because you'll never know if you don't try, you know. And 5, I actually like writing things down. Not like a diary, but if I'm getting stressed about something, so for example on Friday, I realised how much money I'd spent just all the time really, and that got me a bit stressed. I was like, oh my god, I need to stop spending so much money. So, but I'm using a really shit example, but it's an example. So I constantly am writing notes on my phone, and I just wrote down notes like, don't get Ubers, don't keep buying smoothies, make your own, just stuff like that. But for me, writing things down really got them out of my mind, and I actually don't think about it anymore. So I did find writing stuff actually super helpful. So I think that's it. I'm sorry if I've blabbed and I've spoken too much about something. I really do really struggle eloquently talking about it for some reason, like explaining myself and what helped me and stuff. I don't know why. I'm conscious that I don't want people to think that what I say is Bible or gospel. This is literally just what I really need some water. This is literally just what has helped me. Yeah. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'd love your feedback. If you hate these videos, that's fine. If you love them, that's also cool. So if you can comment down below, that'd be really helpful to me. Okay, so I'll see you next week for some laughs, not anxiety.